Tonight, St. Lucia records its first COVID-19 death. Police forced to shut down over 20 bars for COVID-19 protocol violations. And the Prime Minister warns that his hand will be forced into taking drastic action to curb the spread of COVID-19 if the masses continue to flout protocols. The details of these stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Tuesday, the 10th of November, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. St. Lucia's COVID-19 national epidemic has taken on a more somber tone as dreaded news of the first COVID-19 death was made on Tuesday. Prime Minister Allen Chastanet was the first to break the news inside Parliament. Health officials followed up with an official statement. Nisha Charles begins our reporting.
Prime Minister Allen Chastanet broke the news to the nation at Tuesday's sitting of Parliament that the island had recorded its first COVID-related death. The news sent shockwaves across the nation as citizens listened and viewed the startling revelation.
We've just experienced our first death due to COVID. I guess the CMO will make the announcement later this afternoon, and we do have, sad to say, two persons who are critical. We're certainly hoping that we're able to turn the corner with both of them. But again, a day that we had attempted to avoid. Sadly, we've now joined the rest of the world and experienced our first death due to COVID.
Moments later, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar-George, gave details about the individual.
The individual is a 47-year-old male from the Micoud district. He presented at one of our hospitals due to the complications of underlying medical conditions where he was treated and being managed for these issues. As part of his care, he was also assessed and swabbed for COVID-19, and his results returned today as positive for the virus. Investigations and contact tracing in relation to this case are currently ongoing. The Ministry of Health and Wellness, we extend our greatest sympathies to his family and loved ones.
On Tuesday, the Ministry of Health reported one additional case of COVID-19, taking the island's total count to 142. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
Thank you, Nisha. Now, over 20 bars in the city of Castries were shut down by law enforcement officers on Monday evening. Genevieve Gonzague tells us more in this report.
The Royal St. Lucia Police Force shut down the operations of over 20 bars in and around the city centre on the evening of Monday night. The newest regulations governing the prevention and control of COVID-19 in St. Lucia include bars closing at 9 p.m. and patrons not assembling but rather getting the merchandise and vacating the property. Press Police Officer Anne Joseph explained that after multiple warnings, officers in the patrol unit were compelled to take action.
Most of the shutting down of businesses took place about 7 p.m. and they were in various locations, including Jeremy Street, near the Corinth bus stop, and other parts of the city. Prior to shutting down all of these establishments, officers went to each establishment and asked persons to abide by the protocols established, particularly as it relates to the socializing of persons within these establishments. Over 20 bars were formally shut down after officers had made previous attempts to have persons abide by the protocols. According to the COVID-19 Prevention and Control Restriction of Access to Area Order, a person with a valid liquor license under the Liquor License Act shall not permit a person on the licensed premises to consume intoxicating liquor, to loiter, or to assemble or socialize. All of the 20-something establishments which were shut down were not in keeping with the protocols established by that order.
Joseph explained that the shutdowns were only temporary. However, the officers in the Special Patrol Unit will be conducting patrols on a regular basis.
The establishments were shut down just for last night. However, these operations will continue every evening until persons either adhere or you have a revocation of their liquor licenses or persons are actually charged criminally.
She explained that the patrols are not only taking place in the city.
What you would find in smaller communities, the adherence, once a police officer has asked that persons vacate the premises, they would adhere to a greater extent than the establishments which was shut down last evening. I'm sure there are necessary steps that we can take. For now, we've asked persons to abide, and we will see what happens this evening. Perhaps we may have to arrest some persons, charge them, and, like I said, explore more permanent solutions.
Joseph warns that these patrols will continue until there is a greater level of compliance. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
Prime Minister Alan Chastanet is warning the nation that his hand will be forced into taking drastic action to curb the spread of COVID-19 if the masses continue to flout the set protocols put in place for their own protection. Prime Minister Chastanet says he witnessed blatant disregard for the rules and that if this does not change, then he will implement measures that will not be too pleasing to most. Rochelle Gonzalez tells us more.
Prime Minister Alan Chastanet has issued a warning telling St. Lucians that stricter COVID-19 protocols will be imposed if they continue to lack discipline and flout the set protocols. Speaking ahead of Tuesday's sitting of Parliament in response to a question regarding a possible lockdown or formal curfew being imposed due to the rapid rise in cases of COVID-19, the PM expressed disappointment in the blatant disregard of the protocol.
I was traveling in the South this weekend, and I was shocked. I mean, I didn't think that I was in St. Lucia. Persons were in larger crowds than 25 people. People were overly socializing. This is not how we're going to beat this situation. So again, I'm calling on all St. Lucians, go to work and go home. For a period of time, we have to stop the socializing. We have to stop the virus from being able to circulate. The only way we can do that is save lives, save livelihoods, wear your mask. That's what we all have to do. And if in fact that we're not going to have the discipline in us to do it, and calling upon each individual person in this country to do their part, if that is not working, then sadly the government will have to resort to more stringent protocols in order to enforce that even to a greater extent.
The PM said there is a glimmer of hope in the form of a new vaccine, but until then he implored the nation to adhere to the law.
You heard news yesterday that there's a vaccine. My understanding is that the U.S. might be rolling out the vaccine as early as December. I'd like to think that that's going to be successful, but that is the overall cure. But in the absence of medicine or science, the only science we have right now, wear your mask, wash your hands, practice social distancing, and stop thinking that you are Superman. Stop thinking that you are individually immune from what is taking place. That is the solution.
The PM implored the media to play a role to prevent the spread of fake news, including the notion that COVID-19 is a hoax and that it is not coming in through backdoor methods. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Stay with us. Still to come, a viral video of a child smoking marijuana prompts a call from the Human Services Minister for police intervention. And Philip J. Pierre takes the government to task for its level of borrowing. That and more after the break.